Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of The Anecdote, where we are discussing why India will never recognize Taiwan. And this is the second episode. If you haven't seen the first episode, I've put the link in the description. You can go ahead and watch that as well. So, recently, the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, celebrated his birthday, and there was a tweet from the President of Taiwan congratulating him on his special day. But the Prime Minister, who's very active on social media, he didn't even acknowledge that tweet, leave aside responding to it. So, why is India being so aloof to the advances of Taiwan? So, this is the second reason that I'm going to share with you. Um, the first was trade, which we discussed in the previous video. Today, we are going to talk about the diplomatic channels. In 1962, when the Indo-China war concluded, China and India started rebuilding their trust from scratch because that had been hampered by the 1962 war. China had done something very terrible. They initially were very accepting of India, but then eventually Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, he thought that the Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai was something that was very famous, but eventually they stabbed us in the back and this war took place. After that, again, China and India tried to normalize their relations. So what they did was they established some diplomatic channels. Um, some core commander level talks, you might have heard about them when the border skirmish was going on with China, and these core commanders, they built up a rapport and they used to take care of things on the local level. बिल्कुल यदि कुछ और बड़ा हो जाएगा, then the things would obviously escalate to the higher ups, but most of this was taken care of at the local level. Now what will happen? India shares a very long international boundary with China. And recently, last year in Arunachal Pradesh, there is an area called Nacho. From there, 5 of the villagers were abducted by the Chinese PLA. That is what the Indian version is, that they were abducted. The Chinese soldiers crossed into the Indian borders, they abducted these 5 villagers and took them with them. Now, what China says is that these 5 had wandered off into the Chinese territory, and that is why they were apprehended and they were interrogated that what was their motive. Now, the truth might be either, but the thing is that the diplomatic level talks happened between India and China, and eventually these 5 people came back to India. The Chinese agreed, yes, we have them, and they returned them back that okay, we are satisfied, they are not spies or they don't have any ulterior motives, और आप इनको वापस ले सकते हो. Just imagine if this diplomatic channel had broken down. If something like this has happened, India would be in no position to talk to China, and China will not entertain anything India says. They would not talk to their generals, they would not talk to the politicians, they would not talk to the prime minister, because obviously आपने ताइवान को, जो दुश्मन तो नहीं कह सकते, बट हमारा एक दूसरा हिस्सा है जिसको आप ये बोलना चाह रहे हैं कि भाई नहीं, ये अलग है, आपने उसे रिकग्नाइज कर लिया और हमारे से आपकी अब दोस्ती नहीं रही है, we cannot talk together. तो India will have to run towards the international community every time when something such a petty issue like this comes up. So, and obviously it is understood that the Chinese would surely do this mischief along the border because the border is not completely manned. अब आप इसमें बोल सकते हैं कि भाई आप एक काम क्यों नहीं करते, जितने भी बॉर्डर एरियाज में लोग रह रहे हैं उनको आप वहां से निकाल के दूसरी जगह क्यों नहीं बसा देते. सो द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट इंडिया नीड्स पीपल ऑन इट्स बॉर्डर्स. If you would remember, in 1999, when Pakistani intruders came into Kashmir, it was the people who were living alongside the borders who informed the forces that there is some intrusion from the Pakistani side. That is what exactly these villagers living in the border areas do. So India needs them as their unofficial eyes on the border or on the opposite side of the border, or you may say the enemy, whichever way you feel like putting it. तो भारत को ज़रूरत है कि लोग वहाँ पे रहें और उनको सेफगार्ड करने के लिए ये डिप्लोमेटिक चैनल्स तैयार किए गए हैं. तो अगर ये डिप्लोमेटिक चैनल्स टूट जाते हैं एंड इन फ्यूचर इफ एनी सच occurrence happens, any such thing happens, someone from their side wanders into our country or someone from our side wanders into their country, all the process will be very lengthy, all the process will become very haphazard. आप बार बार इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी को इन चीज़ों के लिए नहीं बोल सकते कि आप हमारी मदद करिए, देखिए चाइना में हमारे आदमी चले गए हैं या चाइनीज़ ने हमारे आदमी को किडनैप कर लिया है या जो भी हो गया, या चीन से आपको किसी भी तरीके की मदद चाहिए, you won't have any diplomatic understanding with them, which is going to affect India in multiple ways. So this is another reason why India can never recognize Taiwan, because we share a huge long border. We have an issue with the river distribution, water distribution. The river Brahmaputra, which is known as Sangpo in China, it travels into India from China. So if sometimes it happens that the Chinese, they increase the flow of water, which affects the villages that are located alongside the Brahmaputra in the delta and the basin. So that is also a problem. The second problem is the pilgrimage issue. The Kailash Mansarovar Yatra is felicitated by the Chinese, and you know that the Kailash range is in China. So if you want to visit, it is a religious issue. If you want to visit there, you would need to have a visa to China. But if these diplomatic ties are broken, the visas will not be issued to Indians to visit China. The diplomats would be sent back. The embassies will be shut down, and any people who are stranded in China, the Indian government won't be able to help them if they run into some sort of a trouble. So this is the second most important reason why India will never recognize Taiwan. In the third and the final episode of this series, the why India will never recognize Taiwan, we will discuss probably the most important reason why India will never recognize Taiwan. So please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up if you like it, and do share it with your friends who are interested in this sort of stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a good day.